Hello, good afternoon, everyone. And for those who are watching us from the different time zones, good morning or good evening. And for those who are new in this platform, my name is Marilyn. I'm the founder and CEO of Customized Training Solutions Private Limited, or CTS. And we are passionate about helping leaders and organizations who are continuous learners and action takers to transform and thrive in all aspects by co creating, contextualizing, and customizing programs with our world class resources. We have served over 3,000 leaders from over 30 countries in different industries, including Petronas, Sony Mobile, ProLife UK, Ayala Group, Tencent, Jollibee Foods Corporation, and Shell, to name a few. And the reason why we are organizing several interventions, including this interview, is because we would like to help leaders who don't know how to stay relevant and adapt to the next normal, those who find it stressful to lead and ensure performance of a hybrid team, or at least for those who are quite afraid that they can't keep their team or business. So, to be able to stay relevant and continue to lead effectively in any situation, do join us in this intervention. So, it's my great pleasure to introduce our leader for today. John Yo is a product architect, business coach, and he helps heart centered business owners, solopreneurs to add another income stream by productizing their services, staying true to their values and life mission, and still being present for their families. Clients love working with him after they realized that typical productizing business strategies don't feel aligned with their higher purpose. We want our clients to enjoy what they do and fully live their purpose of serving their clients according to him. And through his scripting of his uplifting stories, post, and leveraging on his over 7 years of social work experience with single parent families, his story brand has resonated with his 25,000 plus parents group and inspired them on a quest to coach their kids to be self-directed learners. And his parent community and business circles had often told him he has a knack for quick problem solving by breaking complexity into simplicity and systematizing for them for improvement. And without so much further ado, I'd like to invite John to join me here. Hi, John.
Hello, Marilyn. Thanks for having me, and thanks for the great intro that you have given me.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure to have you today, and I look forward to learning from you. And before I start with the question, I just wanted to share. Thank you, Eric, for your question. Are you showing a slide or presentation? Earlier I actually shared the video, and today there's no presentation. It's more of interview and conversation with John. And so this is an invitation for everyone watching us live to do ask your questions, give your comments, and give us your likes or heart during this conversation. So without so much further ado, I'd like to start with sharing with you. I mean, I've introduced John already, who's a dear friend of mine, and the reason why I get to know John is because we're in the same mentorship program. And yes, that means we are investing on ourselves as well, and how we can reach out to more customers so that we can help them improve their lives. And I really love the introduction where he said that he's so good in um m- moving complexity to simplicity, which is, I guess, and systematizing, and I guess that's what leaders need to have as well. And so I'd like to understand from you, John, um, how did you get to where you are now? So if you'd like to share with us your
Yep.
leadership experiences, and if you have like influencers or even like your favorite leadership style that you use based on your experience, please do share with us.
Yes, thanks, Marilyn. Hey, hello, everyone. Thanks for being here. No matter where you're from the world, a big welcome. Okay, let me just share with you some backstory of where I came from so that you have some context. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
when I was 15 years old, 15 years old, I lost my father due to lung cancer, and then that's also the biggest drive for me to enter social work upon graduation from our Singapore University. Yeah. Okay. So that time I was in charge of this mentoring program for children and youth. Yeah. And as you know, I mean, for parents out there with young children, with teenage kids, you know that there's this very interesting leadership style that you have to take. Yeah, because we know that for children and youth, they will follow you only if they trust you, only when there's rapport is built. Yeah, you can't bribe them. You can't say things like, "If you do this, I'll give you money," or "I will buy you your favorite things," because these are short term methods which wouldn't um, be successful or be useful on other days. Yeah. So a lot of times, because of my experience in social work, I started to realize that to be a leader, to be able to lead this group of youths and children, to get their buy-ins, you need to first gain their trust. You need to first build a rapport with them, and you need them to be able to bond with you such that they trust you. Yeah. So in my own work, leadership skills are learned through this manner. Yeah. I mean, I'm not sent to any leadership course. I mean, I have to, being a very young social worker then in my 20s, I have to pick everything from scratch, and I have to really get into the world of teenagers as well as young children to start to learn from scratch. Yeah. So the first thing that I know is building trust is important, building the rapport, and really when you talk to them, when you establish a kind of conversation, you need to talk to them about things that matter to them. Yeah, it may be some latest game apps, it may be the latest iPhones, it may be the latest movies, it may be the latest toys for younger children. I need to go in there and say, hey, tell me more. Yeah, even if I do not know what is the latest phone game app. Yeah, being being their leader has taught me to humble myself down, to be grounded, and to go down to their level and say, "Hey, tell me more," and show that you are really interested. And this is something that is very important because a lot of times when I realize, like, when I talk to some parents, some of them, when they talk to their kids, their eyes are on the phone, but they want their children to talk to them. So there's somehow of a mismatch of body language there, saying that, hey, I'm interested in your conversation, in having this talk with you, but my eyes are looking elsewhere. Yeah. So being a leader in my own terms means that you got to be interested in their topics. You got to be you have to show interest, and you have to behave in a way that it really show that you are really interested, and you tune into the children, into whoever is having the conversation to you with you.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I mean, at a very young age, you started helping people through the social work that you have done prior to starting your business. And what I'm getting from the message or the what you have shared based on your experience is really like, it's no different from the corporate world. I would say, like, like when you lead people, right, you have to first build a rapport relationship with them in order to have that trust and for them to actually follow you. So whether you're a leader as a parent or a leader in the corporate world or as an entrepreneur having to build your team, your tribe, your followers, right, it's always about like building that trust on different ways, right, like being able to listen. What I got from your share is really so much around how you listen and how interested are you and how are you like finding out what matters most to them, right? And when they know that you care, that's when they start to follow you. And again, that's also no different in the family life, right? And as a parent, we have to be a role model for our children because they will not really listen as much as they would follow us based on what they see we do, right? Not really like when you like just, it's again like what you've said, it's not sustainable if you just like do this, do this, do this, do this. It's not gonna be sustainable unless you really teach them on, and you really share how the things that is important for them matters to you too, and you listen to them as well, and if you also show being a right role model to them, so they follow what you are telling them as well.
Yes,
Right.
I actually like the part that you say, do this and do that and do this and do that. And this is actually how most parents can relate to, because this is exactly what I did when I was a young parent. Yeah. Okay, just to share, I actually am a father of three girls, and a lot of times I thought that I know how to lead them, because being the parents, and based on how I was brought up by my dad and my mom, a lot of times is if there's a leadership term to that, is authoritarian leadership.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Yes.
which means that the parents say you do this and you better do this. If the parents say do that, you better do that. You can't
Mhm.
say you can't change the task, because if you change the task or if you rebut, then here comes the cane. Yeah, I mean that's how I was brought up when I was younger. Yeah, so a lot of times when I was bringing up my three girls, I also realized that and my three girls have different characteristics. I mean, they are age 12,
Right.
10, 5, not just in terms of age, but they have different temperament as well as behavior and preference as well. And I realized that I started to use a lot of the leadership skills that I've learned when I was managing my youth group as well as children's group in the social work sector. Yeah, and something that I want to share here will be, how can I actually bring the best out of every child? How can I bring the best out of every youth? And now, as a dad, how can I bring the best out of my own kids? Yeah, and when you see that experience as bringing out the best of that human being, that special human being, you start to tune into what they like, what's their strength. I mean, somehow like you started to do like a SWOT analysis about them. Then you start to be interested in them. Yeah, in a sense that you started to look less at what you need, and then you start to look at more what they need. Yeah. So I
Exactly.
think I was sharing with Marilyn just now that I have not been in any corporates before, so I can really very much share on how I actually lead children and youth. And somehow, if I can turn back time, when I check in with some friends, they heard my stories. They say that, hey John, you know that sometimes leading children are actually much more challenging than leading adults. Yeah, I mean,
Very
try
true.
try running a workshop for 100 kids versus try running a workshop for 100 adults. I mean, personally, I have run workshops for 100 kids before, and if they don't like you, you can see it from their face. But as an adult, when we don't like the trainer, we will try to be nice, try to be pleasant, we will try to like behave well, like how we are expected to behave in a workshop.
Exactly. Thank you for sharing that with us, John. And again, there's always truth on that based on, both our experiences. It's so easy for us to like assess. I also have three children myself on different ages, so I also like notice how different they are, how they respond are also like different from each other. So it's interesting, like, in leadership, whether these are children or adults, like people respond to you differently, and reason why they said that, leadership style do expire. Yeah, it has to be always relevant for the person that you're leading as well. And so I would say that you have partly shared with us in your earlier story how you define leadership.
All right. How I have defined leadership has changed across the years, from a social worker leading children and youths into the time when I started off my business. Yeah, so I'm running. Okay, I actually own three businesses right now. One of
Mhm.
them is education center to help to make maths fun for children, as well as to make maths easy to teach for parents. Yeah,
Mhm.
the second one would be the publishing firm that we publish books for primary school kids. And the third one is what Marilyn has just shared. We have this program called the Products Architect to help hard-based owners to learn how to productize their services so that they can actually trade less time for money and have more time for their family and their clients as well. Yeah, but across the years, as much as the arenas change, yeah, I realized that while the styles have to change, but the fundamentals stay the same. Yeah, so maybe allow me to elaborate on that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because when I say the arena change, which means that the age group of the people I manage also change as well. They are adults. Yeah, they come from different backgrounds and they
Mm-hmm.
have different needs as well. Same for children, they are of different age, different background. But I realize that the thing that they want is the same, which is they want to grow. Yeah, they want to grow, and when they sign up for your team as an employee, I realized that there's always something that this person wants out of joining this company, which
Mm-hmm.
is to grow. Yeah, I mean for some employees, they really want and they aspire to grow to the next step, to the next stage, and they look up to the employer as a mentor or role model that hey, I want to be like you. Yeah, yeah. So having said that, I realized that a lot of times the fundamentals of building trust, building rapport, communicating at a deeper level with the person is also it stays true. Yeah, yeah. But at the same time, I think as a leader, because we are the leader, we are more responsible for a lot of things. Yeah, I mean every single thing. There's a saying that if the thing goes wrong, even if it's done by an employee,
Mm-hmm.
the responsibility still go back to the employer for having for not having trained the employee well, for not having proper SOP, for not having invested enough time in coaching the employee. Yeah. So I think along the way as an employee employer relationship, we really have to spend more time to coach the employee to really very much on like how to do their job more effectively, and also as well as how to um, how how to work more efficiently based on the specific tasks that they have. But at the same time, it still goes back to how we talk to children when we have one-on-one time to really understand what this employee needs as an individual, as a human being, what they want to learn. Yeah, and it differs. Yeah. So a long answer to your question, which is at the end of the day, we need to sit down with that person, be a child or an adult, to really to understand how do you define success. Yeah, because in the corporate world, at least based on what I hear from my friends, um, sometimes it may mean promotion, it may mean raise in salary, or it may mean giving some stocks of the company, or it mean being able to lead. But sometimes some people just want to do what they do, like they just want to have their own little space to continue to do their thing. Okay, why I say that is because I heard a story from a friend. Yeah, it's a it's a it's a small company about 10 people. Yeah, and one of the workers did his job very well. Yeah, and in fact much better than the manager. Yeah, so the person was thinking, hey, since the person can do such a good job now, can I why can't I promote him? So in fact, he promoted the guy. The next day, this person who was just promoted tender his resignation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Why is
and
that?
yeah, and my friend was like, being the boss, like, hey, what happened? I thought promotion is like a happy thing, something that is worth celebrating. But the person actually texted my friend saying that actually promotion gives me stress. I love my job. I just want to do my thing. Yeah, and being promoted shows me that you don't understand me. That's why I left. Yeah.
Wow, that's very interesting. And I think that's kind of common as well in the organizations where like the management or the leaders are not really understanding what are the aspirations of their team members, and how would they, I mean, it's important that there's growth, right? That's one of the principles that you've shared earlier, that having like growth, coaching your people, helping them to grow aside from building trust, right? But part of doing so is that you're able to find out what's their aspiration, like in what do they want to get out of the organization and the team around, right? Like in the case of the story that you're sharing, it's actually not really like around promotions and all those stuff, right? Just is he's just happy for where he is. But again, like, I mean, from top uh from studies and other data that I have seen, it's always around like leadership development, learning and development opportunities, and of course the career growth and career development that they look forward to have. But again, that goes back to the story that you've shared, that it's always also like finding out what do they actually want, um, why did they join your team, and how would they feel that they belong in the organization, not necessarily like in that case, in your story, not necessarily having the promotions, right? Or
Yes,
not
sometimes we don't
understanding or
understand.
preparing, I guess, the person for it.
Yes, yeah, right. Yeah, a lot of times, even for myself, I'm learning as well, and I'm still learning. Yeah, so I admit that in the past when I started off my company having and then feeling very charged up, having my own team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but a lot of times, leadership can only be learned like on the ground. Yeah, I mean, I love to read as well. I mean, you can go and check out how many leadership books I have bought across these 20 years. But um, but the truth is the leadership lessons that I have to learn is actually from the ground, and that is when from making a mistake. And sometimes the mistake is very expensive in a sense that the person left or something happened. Yeah, even down to like in the monetary sense, like maybe the mistake cost like 5 figure. Yeah, yeah. So what I feel is how can we actually translate this lesson to the employee? I feel that it's okay that the employee can make mistake, yeah, just that he has to learn. And I think having worked with so many people, I realized
Mm-hmm.
that the culture of the company must be very strong, and that
Yeah.
also define how you hire. And one of the things that I realized is because we are open to making mistake, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the person who comes into our team also needs to be open to learn as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because some of them may have this bad relationship with mistake and they just want to like hide it, or they don't have to tell it, or when you tell them that they are wrong, or rather the things that they do are wrong, they actually start to give like push the blames to other people or give excuses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true. I totally agree on you with you on that particular um statement, where companies has to be open to having failures and mistakes, trying out things, and also defining how they hire people, because that's also like the challenge in most companies. The way they hire is somehow no longer valid, I would say. Like all, they always look at the like certificates and all those stuff. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that as well, but it's really like also looking into like it on a holistic, I would say, a view, like the attitude, as well as like what strengths are you looking for as well, in and do they always have to have everything before you can even hire them, right? Because at the end of the day, as an employer, it's your responsibility to train them when it comes to skills, and it's easier to train skills rather than the behaviors in the first place. So having to know that, or having that understanding, should give you a clue on how to actually hire people as well, right? So anyway, in my earlier introduction, I made mention around the next normal, and so I'm curious to know, as an entrepreneur and working with a lot of students and parents who, like, I mean, a lot of things has been brought online when we were starting, in during the pandemic. So, like, how would you define, or what, describe the next normal in that case, based on your industry?
All right. Okay. The next normal to me is really being there and within reach to your followers, to people who believe in you and they like your philosophy. Yeah,
Mhm.
which is also like it sounds like being the thought leader in your community. Yeah, yeah. So in fact, what we do even before the COVID, I started to build my own Facebook tribe.
Mhm.
Yeah, having said that, that time is not a normal thing to build a Facebook group around your brand. So we are one of the very few companies in the education scene to have around 25,000 parents followers, 25,000 followers who have come to us across these 10 years. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think okay, let me try to think of how to phrase it. Okay, so I think a lot of times as the brand leader or the leader of the tribe, we do have some thought philosophy or some belief that other people can resonate with. Yeah, so we make it readily available for the masses. And with today's tech, like Zoom, Facebook Live, StreamYard, it's easy to tune in to somebody who you like. For example, I love Taylor Swift. Yeah,
Mhm.
I love her songs. Yeah, I mean, back in the earlier days of 1980s, it shows how old I am. Yeah, yeah, I like Mariah Carey as well. But the time do not have Twitter or Facebook. You can't tweet to your idol. Yeah, but
Mhm.
nowadays you can just tweet to them and see whether they respond to you or not. Yeah. So nowadays the exchange of information is so convenient that
Mhm.
it's so easy to share your philosophy. Yeah. So
Mhm.
in today's world, I feel that if you want to thrive in today's world, you need to lead. Lead meaning that you need to be brave enough, to be courageous enough to share what is your personal value, your philosophy in life, as well as what are your opinions
Mhm.
in helping to improve the humankind. Because at the end of the day, we do not just want to share out things that are not useful. We want to share things that are useful for people so that they can better their life. Yeah. So in today's world, I think that it takes a lot of groundedness to be a leader so that you continue to sink in into your core and to
Mhm.
really understand and to ask yourself, is what am I giving next useful for the reader or the listener or for my fan? Yeah.
Mhm.
So this is something that I actually use and follow very closely when I post something on my Facebook group or I send it to my email database. I will always ask, is this something useful for them? How can this change their lives? How can this actually makes their life more convenient? Yeah. So
Sure.
there's some skills that I would like to share. Yeah. One of them is to be high sensing. That means, in my own words, is how can you be more sensitive towards people's needs? Yeah. And a lot of times in today's world, people don't really share what they feel or what they want. You have to sense it. It's a kind of like a intuition. Yeah.
Mhm.
And is it something that is innate? Probably yes. But I think being sensitive can be self-learned as well. Like, how do you tune into people's conversation? Are you even listening or not? Or are you on the phone? Yeah. How are you reading the person's body language? When the person say yes, but the body behaves no, what is the message there? Yeah. So highly sensing. Second one will be you can be flexible and strong. What do I mean by that? Okay, a lot of times when we always change our direction, it may be perceived as, hey, John, you are indecisive. But what if I change my directions for the people that I'm serving because their needs change? So how can I still stay courageous and stand my ground, saying that, hey, I'm changing because there's a need to change. the new normal is coming, and it's not normal to stay put. Yeah.
Yeah, true. So what would you say would be the top three problems of leaders based on what you have shared? I mean, whether it's your experience or your friends' experience. I mean, you are also an employer yourself, being an entrepreneur or being a business owner, and you've also worked with thousands. I mean, 25,000 plus of parents. What would you say would be the top problem uh, for
For most
most leaders?
for most leaders. Okay. I would say that whatever I'm sharing is like face back everybody. So let me share what I face. Okay, some of the problems that I face with one, um, not digging enough. Yeah, and we stopped when we thought that there's a truth. Yeah. For example, okay, maybe let me just use a kid as an example. Maybe it's easier.
Mm-hmm.
A kid may want a sweet, yeah, but when you ask the child will say, will keep quiet, or when you ask her, is it you want that sweet? If the child is open, she'll say yes, that's what I want. But most children are very reserved or shy. They will like, no, yeah. Then we stop there because maybe we don't have time, or we think that the child doesn't want anything, or we
Mm-hmm.
can't probe it any further. Yeah. So the problem that I face right now is sometimes when we ask, the employee probably may not share the truth or
Mm-hmm.
share the half truth, because by having the half truth, your solution will be like alternative as well. I mean, you need to come in to solve the problem, right? I mean, that's what we do as leaders. Yeah. So when we don't get all the facts right, we tend to be misguided. Yeah. So somehow I hope that I have this skill to be able to probe more, but also very gently. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The other problem that I face is sometimes I felt that being a leader, sometimes we may be misunderstood. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we have some things to follow, like a code of ethics that we are binded to, and yet we can't share everything. Yeah, so somehow, again, if you know of any way, let me know. Right now, I'm still figuring that out. How much do we actually share with the employee? I know
Mm-hmm.
that there are some companies that they open up their accounts book. Yeah, that is a daring move. I mean, they share everything about their company, how well they do, how well they don't do, the problems that they face. Yeah, but I think there also needs an open culture with the right mindset from the employees as well. So that's another like a discussion. Yeah. Okay. The third problem that I face is very much on how much to push, how much to pull. Yeah, it's always a very fine delicate between pushing a bit more or pulling a bit more. Yeah, sometimes we push, we thought it's enough, the person just collapse. Sometimes we can't pull, we think that it's not the right time to pull back the person because he may face some danger, or it's over her or his threshold. The person resign because, hey, they will be thinking that, hey John, you're a leader, why didn't you come and save me that time? Why didn't you help me? Yeah, so I'm still having a hard time to figure all this out, because I think it also takes a lot of like on the ground approach, getting tuned into your employees' real needs, not surface needs, real needs, and really having a lot of conversation with them. And the fourth problem, if I can share, is not enough time to do all this. Not enough time.
Not enough time. That's very interesting. I really appreciate all this input from you on the top problems that most leaders, I mean those like in probably in your industry or based on what you do as also both an employer and a father, right? As a leader, it is a very interesting view, and I was actually smiling while you are sharing, like, the number one problem, which is not digging enough, um, and also like because normally, like when you have like an exit interview, or like when you have to write down your comments when you're leaving a company, right? like like because I'm a very direct person, I would really say why, what, and how, why why am I leaving. And then, like, it really puts so much, sometimes, shock on some other people, that, like, why you asked me in the first place when you couldn't, like, accept my answer, right?
Mm.
And because, like, there again, like, most people will not dig enough, or will not even accept, like, again, you also made mention, like, how how much to push and how much to pull as well, right? So in any conversation as well, it's also the same, right? Like,
Yeah,
there's
I feel
always.
that there's some similarity in that. I think at the same time, if we put the employee and employer term to one side, I think we
Mhm.
are all adults and we are all responsibility for the decision that we make. And somehow, as an individual, we are all leading ourselves towards a greater life. Yeah,
True.
yeah. So I think as much as sometimes when I meet up with my friends who are the business owners and meet up with my friends who are the employees,
Mm-hmm.
um, you do hear different side of the story. Yeah, but
True.
at the end of the day, I think it's very important to know how to lead ourselves properly
Mm-hmm.
and to ask ourselves actually what we need now and how can we make the situation a better one
Mm-hmm.
with the employer slash employee's help. Because sometimes I feel that we just need to have an open conversation, yeah, and
True.
probably with a third party being inside to mediate. And the mindset must be open as well. I agree with what you say, which is sometimes the truth hurts. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
It may be an ego issue. It may be something else. But as long as all parties stay open with an open heart to want to tackle it and want to make the environment better for everyone, that can help to push everyone forward instead of backward. Because for an employee to leave the company, um, there's a lot of like outcomes like find
Right.
somebody to retrain from the employer side. The employee may need to look for another job. Yeah, so why not, if possible or whenever possible, make it easier for all to stay put, and then let's put our heads together, and then let's see what we can do to solve it. Maybe give a 1 month or 2 months period. If can't, then let's decide again. It's still not too late.
Exactly. And I mean, I remembered, I really love what you've said, that, it's about really starting on leading yourself and how you actually show up, in wherever you go or whatever you do, right? Um, Even when nobody's looking, right? Because when nobody's looking, what you do matters most, right? Because that's really, like, kind of the truth, or like, how will you do everything, right? When nobody's looking. So, and I remembered last night, a friend of mine has been, like, messaging me for, I guess she just wanted to, like, share her problems, or her issues in her work, because she's been in the company for quite long, like, I think 11 years, if I remember it correctly. And she's been saying that, I like my work, and it's a good company, they are giving me good benefit, but sometimes it's kind of getting more difficult and difficult, because the environment is getting very toxic, right? um,
Mm,
because, like, having problems with boss, having problems with colleagues, or even friends within the organization. And so it's kind of getting more painful for her to stay in the
mm,
organization. And that goes
mm,
back to, like what you've said, that, if you can actually resolve it amongst yourselves, or like having an open communication, in fact, right, to be able to have that conversation. Because at the end of the day, like, we spend a lot of time at work, and it just makes sense that we make that enjoyable and pleasurable, or like a fun thing for our employees, or for ourselves to be in, right? Because we spend so much time in it. So I think, that's what matters in terms of creating that joy within organization. It's really having that openness, like what you've mentioned, and that communication. And I guess that's partly the answer, or could be an answer to my next question on
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've asked the top problems, and obviously we will not leave them with those problems. So what are the important leadership capabilities or skills that you must have in the next normal to continue to lead effectively?
Okay, just now I mentioned probably the one is more pertaining to the individual, which is
Mm-hmm.
develop higher sensing. So
Yes.
because it's still very much on interpersonal relationship and it's about
Yes.
senses,
Mm-hmm.
and also be seen as strong and be flexible. Yeah, sometimes leaders will change their mind very often, maybe seen as indecisive and weak. But in today's fast changing world, we need to change our direction fast as well. Yeah,
True.
and stand firm. Yeah. So the other thing that I feel a leader need will be to be able to sell well, not necessarily selling a product or service, but able to sell your idea. Yeah, to your team, to sell your purpose, your vision, your mission. Yeah. And I want to backtrack a bit to like sometimes it's easy to give a solution saying that, hey, um, whatever whatever we all need is just having an open communication. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we know that it's so hard. Yeah. Yeah.
True.
Me in the family, talking to my own kids, talking to my parents, sometimes it's just so hard to convince me to share the truth. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
So,
very
so
true.
yeah, I mean, it's very true. I mean, those with parents, those with children, as long as you have a family, and this is why we have family conflicts as well. Yeah, yeah. So what I can share is, as a leader, and this skill is something that I believe that all leaders needs is to look beyond that. Yeah. So right now we have this conflict going on in the company, in the team, and as a leader, you ask yourself, why didn't I know that? Yeah. So the skill is, what can I do right now to implement as a process that can help me to know of any future problems before they explode. Yeah, which
True.
is a process driven skill. Yeah, it's a problem solving skill. Yeah.
Yes.
And how do we nip it at the bud, saying that, hey, now we can't stop the gossips, the problems from surfacing, but can I have a feedback system that can give me such cues on a regular basis? Something
Mm-hmm.
that I can thought of is like probably um like an anonymous sharing of
Mm-hmm.
problems. Yeah,
Yes, true.
and the team can vote up or vote down. So within that week or once every month, the team can come together, and there's no fear of who blew the whistle. There's no fear of who complained. Yeah, there's no one to blame. Yeah, and then people come together and saying that, hey, now let's look at this because I got 100 votes by 200 employees. That this is something that is very important.
Mm-hmm.
What can we do now to solve it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So coming up with a fixed process to prevent fires before they start. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. At the same time, I think there's always this gap between the employee and employee, even for like two-man show. There's a
Mm-hmm.
boss and the person at the cashier. But I think a lot of times this gap can be closed up by the employer being authentic. Yeah. I mean, in the past, I have always watched shows, the movies. All the bosses are in my own world. It's like, wow, all the way high up there, very bossy, top down conversation. Yeah. But right nowadays, as you see in companies, the managers are very cheerful, easygoing. When they talk, it's like a partner. They do not see the employees as a headcount. They see them as partners. Yeah, so being authentic is something very important as well. And the last one is okay, the bosses out there, the leaders out there, sorry to say, you have to be the jack of not all trades, but you have to be jack of many trades. because sometimes your employee leaves, you have to go down to the level and
Mm-hmm.
do the work, yeah, while managing your own work, yeah. So having said that, I think the problem solving skills of having the right process is important as well. So
Mm-hmm.
the last point I want to bring across is um, leaders may not be the one to design the process, but they
Mm-hmm.
have to be aware that process, if designed well, can can put off many fires before, even before they start.
So they have to be process driven as well in that case. So I'm just sharing resharing what you have said, adding the process driven and the jack of many trades as you've mentioned. And I really I really appreciate you sharing this, because I mean, this is like a holistic way of doing so, of what leadership is, right? It's being able to work on yourself while you're also working with others, and all the skills that a leadership must have, as so we speak, right? Like the flexibility, the agility, and being able to be as authentic as possible, but having that skills of being able to sell, to look into the process properly, as well as to being able to solve the problems, right? And that's the reason why you've mentioned that they have to be jacks of many trade. Be- because that will like really help them on how they actually help in solving and problems, as well as supporting their teams, especially in different departments. So um having said that, what do you believe is the role of learning, leadership, and transformation in thriving in the next normal?
So I can say again, because it's a very long question.
Sorry. Yeah, I've actually received quite a number of comment on this, is how this could be like a lot of things, but probably this is an invitation for you to, I don't know, summarize what we have been discussing in terms of what the role of learning, leadership, and transformation in order for us to thrive.
What's the role of learning the leadership?
Learning, leadership, and transformation in order for us to thrive in this next normal.
Yeah, okay. I think it's important. Let's say, okay, maybe let me share this on in this context. Why is it important to learn? Yeah, and the reason
Mhm,
is because many times we are expected to lead, or will be given opportunities to lead.
mhm,
Let's say if you work, even if you are a solopreneur or freelancer, and you only you in your team to service your clients,
mhm,
somehow when it comes to the freelancer dash customer relationship, you are the leader to the customer. Why? Because when a customer comes to you and offer you money in return for the service rendered, he's looking up to you as someone who is as an expert. Yeah.
mhm,
And for the fact that we put this word looking up to you, is like they look up to you as someone having a craft that they don't have, having a skill set that they don't have. Yeah. So as the solopreneur who is leading the customer, you have the responsibility to lead them into getting what they want.
mhm,
Yeah, because I think it's also having an experience of uh, communicating across your needs,
mhm.
communicating across your expectations. Yeah, what you can deliver, what you can't deliver, and communication across what else can the customer get out of your service. Yeah, so
Very
somehow we can't escape leadership. If you have a parent, yeah, you have to lead your children. If you don't know how to lead your children will lead you. That's simple. Children are very agile, highly sensing, sometimes also fast changing as well. Yeah, children are so smart. And I
mhm,
have seen in my facial experience before being the social days, some parents just refuse to lead their children. And now the children lead the parents and they get whatever they want, and the parents cannot say no. Yeah. What about spouse? What about spouse? Um, Sometimes I lead my wife, sometimes my wife lead me, and it's okay. I mean, we have come to this consensus that at the end of the day, both of us just want each other to grow. Yeah. Yeah.
True.
So leadership wise, it's something that you can't escape because it's everywhere. When you go and buy your favorite food, yeah, you are leading the storeholder to give you what you want, or
Exactly.
maybe a bit more, a bit of meat or a bit of more drink. Not a good example, but you know what but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
It's all
true.
persuasion skills everywhere. Yeah.
Yes. So again, that's leadership, as being an example and being an influencer as well, right? And at least starting with your vision of what do you want to have actually, and as a leader as well, serving others. That's also our responsibility to be able to deliver that wants or that needs that our customers do have. So thank you for sharing that. And that leads me to my last two questions, which are very open questions as well. So I'm just curious to know like how you go about the answers to these questions. So the first one is, if you have a magic wand that you can use, what will you do with it?
A magic one. Must it be related to leadership?
Not necessarily. I mean, these are very open questions. It can be like something that you believe the world needs from you, or the
uh,
world needs help from you. I don't know.
okay, yeah. When you say a magic one, it
Magic
reminded me
wand.
of the experience being in Disneyland and where all dreams come true. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so back to
Exactly.
your question. Okay, at least in my own context as a parent to three girls, I think the world has evolved and it's still changing, and it's changing at a very fast rate. The new
True.
normal of today may be the old normal tomorrow. Yeah,
Yes.
and this speaks about the world our children are in right now. And if your child is still in primary school, like less than 12 years old, you, you have no idea what will become their world when they reach adulthood. Yeah, and probably cars can fly by then. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So if I have a magic one, I hope that more children out there will be supported by their parents in terms of teaching them skills outside the schools, like being more sensitive to people's needs, being able to solve problems, being more articulate. I was a very shy boy in the past, and whenever I speak out at home, my father will tell me to shut up. Yeah, which is why I don't have to speak up even until teenage phase as well. Yeah. So I really highly encourage parents to allow their children to speak up. Yeah. Not saying that you accept their views, but giving them the opportunity to speak up and to express their views. Yeah, yeah. And also I think also for them to learn the necessary skills that we have shared earlier on, that is important for the new normal that is already happening today. Yeah.
Wow, thank you. Thank you. And I really hope that you have a magic one. If I can give you one, I will. Here it is.
Uh,
So but anyway, at least through the work that you do, and the activities that you do for both parents and children, it's somehow like as if you have, or with or without that magic wand, at least you're doing your part in being able to like fulfill this dream of yours, to having your children and other children's that is in your community, supporting them of like other than the maths and other subjects that you teach or your team do teach, right? To be able to actually make use of these soft skills or important leadership skills throughout their life. And again, as parents, we're just here to support our children as well, to give them like more mindfulness on like how to actually respond rather than react, and how to be the best person that they could grow to, right? So thank you for that. And last question is, if you were to ask yourself a question that you can best answer, what would it be? And since you can best answer it, please feel free to share with us what will be your answer to that question.
oh wow. This is the first time that I've come up with a question in a live show. Okay. Yeah. Okay. in my experience, many people come to me saying that, John, how is it that you can productize so fast? Um, the faster result that we got is we churn out a book a month. We
Mm-hmm.
churn out a book a month, and you can hear people saying that, hey, their dream is to write a book. But
Mm-hmm.
in our context, in our company, we churn out a book a month. Yeah. So if I can ask myself a question, I'll be asking, why am I so good in productization? Yeah. And in my own business, the answer to it is because I'm someone who is very mission driven, and in my mind, whenever I have a product idea, I will always be asking myself, how can this go up fast to reach the child who needs it then? Yeah, yeah. And the parents, when they use a book, they are going to say to themselves, to herself, is like, how why did I get this book earlier? Yeah, yeah. So having a mission in your head helps when you want to do something, not necessarily to productize. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you in business? Yeah. Sometimes we have our lows and highs and lows again, or lower lows. We feel like giving up. Ask yourself, why okay, what made you start all of this? What what's your story? Yeah, sometimes we just need some reminders to
Mm-hmm.
get back on track and get ourselves out of um the the shithole. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you so much for answering that question for us. Why am I so good in productizing? And it's important, I mean, especially for small business owners as well, right? So that they can actually, again, like what you've said, you wanted to help more entrepreneurs, trainers, coaches, consultants to be able to really um, be able to like leave their mission, but at the same time to balance it with still spending as much or enough time with the family, which matters more, right? So thank you so much for this conversation, very inspiring, and at the same time very mission driven, I would say, conversation with you, John. So thank you so much for your time. And for those who are watching us live, thank you. Feel free to like continue to add your comments or even ask your questions. I mean, I'll be tagging John as well on this interview so that he can actually answer more of your questions. So thank you so much for those who are watching us. If you missed the live session, do join us or like look into the link again for the replay. And do join us in this journey in creating opportunities for everyone to make this a better world to live in. And remember that even the richest investors in the world would say that investing in yourself is the best investment you can ever make in your life. So with that, we would like to leave you with this quote from Dolly Parton. Sorry, do you want to say anything more, John? I
Can
missed
I?
it.
Okay, because some of them may want to connect with me. Is it okay? I can share with them how they can find me.
Ah, yes, please do so.
Okay. Okay. My name is John Yo. Yeah. So most people, they will go to Facebook group. Or sorry, Facebook or Instagram to find John Yo. Yeah. If not, you can find like facebook.com John
Mhm.
Yo, John Yo, YEO JR. Yeah, JR. Yeah, you can find me. Instagram as
John
well,
Doe
JR.
JR.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably for some our friends who are not Chinese, they are not familiar with our Chinese surname. Yeah.
Yeah. True, true. So yes, please feel free to also give your comment earlier, later on. I mean, in the comment section for we have YouTube, we have Facebook, and we're streaming live as well in LinkedIn. So yeah, connect with us and let us know how we can help you. And again, with that, we would like to leave everyone with this quote from Dolly Parton, but that if your actions create a legacy that inspires you or inspires others to dream more, to learn more, to do more, and become more, then you are an excellent leader. Thank you so much, John, and thank you everyone for joining us today. And do continue to stay in touch with us to find out how we can help you. So thank you so much, John. Have a good day, everyone, and do stay safe. Bye for
Bye
now.
bye. Thanks again.
Thank you.